We've got an update on the Canon R7 II. The timeline's getting pushed again, but we finally have confirmed specifications, as well as photographic evidence. Is the mechanical shutter being removed? But is the R7 II coming in the spring of 2026? Well, we've got the answers, but first, click that subscribe button. It means more to us than a V12 cold start does to Jeremy Clarkson. Hi, I'm Simon, your friendly photographic correspondent that likes to scan the news and rumor sites so that you don't have to, saving you time for more important things like staring aimlessly at traffic in the morning commute. Today's update is a bit of a mixed bag. Let's go ahead and start with a disappointing schedule change. The Canon EOS R7 II is coming in the next 4 to 6 months. Whether that's an announcement date or a shipping date isn't known at this time. I know what you're thinking. Is the R7 II really coming? Or are we just being led along? This isn't the first time that we've been told about things that turned out not to be true, like the R5 Mark II coming in the second half of 2023. Now, Canon Rumors is hardly narrowing things down here for us. Very few leaks have been accurate since, well, 2024. Leaks have been, well, about as reliable as a British barbecue forecast. Sunny until you put the burgers on and then, well, the heavens break open. Do you remember the R5 Mark II? I was able to get an exact date on the camera announcement, but that was actually 2 weeks before the announcement. Before that, as I alluded to earlier, we had stories going all the way back to late 2022 predicting a spring 2023 announcement, and then in early 2024, and then in May. It does sound like Canon Rumors has something solid this time. Well, as solid as lake cover with an inch of ice. A date range of 4 to 6 months. That puts it solidly, I hate to say it, in the first half of 2026. And that's either an announcement or a shipping date. Now, as far as December goes, well, that's right out. So we're now in September, October, November. That's 3 months, and Canon Rumors is saying 4 to 6 months. Yeah, I'm thinking it's Q1 2026 at the very earliest. So the question you might be asking is, how do I feel about Canon Rumors in terms of them having something solid? We were recently sent an image of what does look like to be a follow-up to the EOS R7, but we were not given permission to post the entire image at this time. This isn't unusual, as very few people would have access to seeing the camera, and at a lot of NDA meetings, phones aren't allowed either. We hope to be able to post the images in the near future. Yeah, NDA meetings. So we're blaming things on those then, are we? Well, I guess we are lucky to have, well, a leaked image that we can't see. Well, Canon Rumors can see it, and we've been down this road before, so I trust what they're saying. And all you have to do is go back to, well, 2020, when Canon Rumors said they had a leaked image of the R5, but they couldn't tell us anything about it to protect their sources. So, you know, they were bang on then, and Canon Rumors has been pretty accurate in the past. Now, even though the date is a little bit mushy, we do have some information on the specifications. The R7 Mark II is bigger than the EOS R7, the Mark I, and the EVF bump, well, it's also bigger. And you'll be happy to hear that the joystick has been moved to a far more sensical place than where it currently is on the Mark I. But the rear LCD appears to be able to tilt up and down, though we don't see it flip to the side as we're used to in the Canon world. Now that's interesting, not a traditional flippy screen. Do I have a camera with all the cameras I have? I don't have one at my hands. But that typical flippy screen that we first saw on the Canon 70D, which I still have upstairs, and despite my son dropping it 3 feet onto concrete, it still functions properly. How about that? A non-Pro Series camera that functions very, very well. But a new LCD would be welcomed if it gave us a Sony-style 5-axis LCD. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be happening with the R7 Mark II. John, Kathy, in case you were wondering if the image that Canon Rumors has could be the R6 Mark III, a camera that we've also been waiting a very long time for, we know it's an APS-C camera and not a 6 series due to the lens that's attached to it. Yes, you can mount RFS lenses to a full-frame RF mount, and in context to the images that we have, That wouldn't make much sense. That last quote I found to be quite interesting. Why? Well, because they said in context of the images, they would be surprised if it wasn't the R7 Mark II. So what that tells us is that the image that they have is angled in a way that you can't see whether it says R7 or even R6, let alone a Mark II or a Mark III. Interesting. Now, without us seeing the image, there's no way of really knowing. But at this point, I would say we're probably 99.9%, 3 nines accurate that it is an R7 Mark II. And that we're probably going to have to wait 4 to 6 months. But lastly, there's some more information that we have on the R7 Mark II. There is no top-down LCD. Yeah, now, these are confirmed specs, but they're confirmed specs from the actual photo that Canon Rumors has, not based on the previous rumored specifications. And we are assuming that, well, Canon Rumors has a clear photo here, a high-resolution photo, and it's a legitimate leak and not some sort of AI-generated image sent to punk them. We don't have a lot of information. They haven't provided us with that. Now, it doesn't mean that the other rumored specs aren't accurate about the sensor, about the image processor, about getting a digic accelerator chip. Those could be coming. It's just that the specs that we're talking about here are what Canon Rumors are able to glean from based on their interpretation of the image. The rest of the specs are Schrödinger specs, true and not true until we open the box and see what's inside. Or we get a leaked set of leaks from an accurate and reliable source. Based on the image, there's no way to see if Canon's removed the mechanical shutter, as has been previously rumored. But if they do bin it and get rid of the mechanical shutter, somewhere, someone, likely a wedding photographer, will feel a great disturbance in the force, like 1,000 flash sync charts all crying at once. If this video kept you a step ahead of the rumor mill, go ahead and tap that subscribe button, hit that like button or the unlike twice. It makes me happy as if, well, to validate my existence. The R7 Mark II. We've been hearing about it for years. Rumored leaks have been all over the place, as have been the dates. But it is coming, and Canon knows they need to fix a few things. Now, faster continuous shooting without any rolling shutter. That's a given. Better ergonomics? Also a given. No crop when shooting video, and better and more accurate autofocus performance. I like the idea of the R7 Mark II. I enjoy shooting with APC-censored cameras. But is the market right for an announcement? Worldwide, right now, people are concerned about rising prices. Prices that have been going up since 2020. That's a long period of time to sustain increased prices, and it affects people's bottom line. They're worried, they're concerned. The answer to this question will largely depend upon the opening price of the R7 Mark II. Well, for now, it's my most anticipated camera purchase of 2026, as 2025 has been largely a sleeper. I've been bored. I've got to admit, I've struggled putting out videos. And some of you have you've kind of sensed that, saying, why are you just putting out videos for the sake of it? Well, I'm not really. What I'm trying to do is channel those creative juices into getting inspiration from different sources. And for the large part, I've been pretty happy with the results. Not the views, because again, if we're not expecting any announcements of cameras or major lenses, then this channel doesn't get a lot of traffic. And we've also just finished going through the summer, another very slow period for covering cameras. I do hope that 2026 is a whole lot more interesting than 2025. Canon has delayed products. Sony has delayed products. Fuji has delayed products. Pretty well everyone has delayed products. And, well, Panasonic, I don't even know what they're up to at this point. It just feels like they're doing the bare minimum just to keep going. The Panasonic S1H, the Mark II, that should have been out years ago. We should be talking about the Panasonic S1H Mark III right now, not the Mark II. Anyhow, Thanks so much for watching this channel. It's very much appreciated. We'll see you on the next one.